general, people like the idea of housing. Yeah, we should be building housing in our city, obviously. But if you want to propose it near them, then they're not as interested. The reason that you can't build it somewhere else is that no matter where you build it, there's someone that comes out and says, can't you build this somewhere else? Then we don't build it anywhere, and that's what happened basically in the Bay Area for 30 years. And so we didn't build it anywhere, and now housing prices are catastrophic. If someone somebody has a piece of land, if they wanted to, what are they allowed to build there? You go to City Hall and you say, what can I build here? And City Hall says, oh, you can build a 16-story apartment building. Or City Hall says, you can build, 3 single-family homes, right? So that's your zoning. In most of the US, definitely in New York, they have by right zoning, which means you go to City Hall, they tell you what you can build. Your next step with the city is getting your plans approved by Department of Building Inspection. There's no, if the city says 16-story apartment building, then, the public has already spoken. In San Francisco, we don't have that. Even if your place is zoned for a 16-story apartment building, you have to go back to the public and ask permission to actually build it. We found out that there were actually some state laws that we could use so that when we were testifying, we weren't just saying like, hello decision makers, we think this project's a good idea, can you please build it, we need housing, but we could also say, and if you don't build it, we will sue you. Lafayette is a town in the East Bay. Despite that though, it's a mostly single family large lot suburb, which is a very inefficient way of using such high demand space. So this is their initial proposal, 315 apartments. And it was perfectly general plan compliant, perfectly zoning compliant. The rest of the city apartments have mostly been zoned out. They proposed this in 2011. It was a terrible controversy. So we wrote this letter, August 6, 2015. Hi, Mayor, City Council. If you guys don't approve this project, the original 315 units will sue you because it's against the law what you're trying to do. And they thought that we were kidding because we seemed like amateurs, but then we really did. And I wrote the petition. And then once it was in the news, I was able to raise money. And then I hired a lawyer to rewrite the petition so that it was okay. Apartments are cheaper than big houses because you can fit more of them on a lot. And so this was gonna be, affordable to moderate income. Opponents to it were advertising it and or opposing it because they were like, we don't want low-income housing here. This is what underlies a lot of hostility to apartment buildings, right? Is that people are like, well, those people are gonna be relatively poor, so we don't want them around us. If you actually read the petition, you'll see that there's actually 2 causes of action. One is this state law, the Housing Accountability Act that I went on about for a little while. The other one is the California version of the Federal Fair Housing Act. And it doesn't require explicit discrimination. All you have to do is have policies and laws that wind up discriminating against minority groups. An example is outlawing apartment buildings. So if the federal law becomes weakened, then state versions are going to be more important. We'll have to use them more. So that's kind of exciting.